Hello and welcome to the lecture for week 7 focused on storytelling and pitching. This will be the final lecture of this course and will help to give you the context you need to finish all of the design work and then start to transition in to your activity for your final where you're looking back at all of your design work. So take a look at the context for storytelling and pitching. So I want to talk a little bit this week about storytelling and pitching our ideas because that's what the design work is for this week. And then you'll be set to kind of wrap up. And I'm so excited to look at everything you've generated. So here we are at the kind of final secret sixth step of the design process, tell. And the idea with this is that you've done all this design work, you've gathered all this information, you've done all this thinking, and you've gone in different directions based on response to feedback. And now you need to kind of look back at everything you've learned from your design project and be able to communicate your idea, not only the idea that you have, which is kind of like pitching, but also the process that you learned from, and help to paint a picture of why you landed in the place that you landed and what is the feedback that you got in that journey. Okay. So I have a couple videos here that I want to show. They're both advertisements. They're both on the old side, but I think they make the point so well. So I'm gonna play these two videos. I want you to just think about how you notice the companies selling their product. And then I'll talk about the takeaways afterward.
He is. Isn't she? How does it feel being a grandfather? How does it feel being a father? It feels pretty great.
Okay, so you can see in those two approaches, very different strategy, right? For the Samsung advertisement, there was no human being present in the ad at all, right? It was just the kind of object and the features, and that was it. Versus this Apple advertisement, which has a picture of the product, but it's the product demonstrating how you can use the product to improve your life, right? And it's doing that through a very emotional story that everyone can relate to, understanding the context immediately, the father, the son, the grandbaby, and that engages you in a different way. So thinking about, not that either one is better or worse, the very feature driven advertisement will also engage a certain customer base, but from a human centered design perspective, from a design thinking perspective, we tend to want to use human story and experience to contextualize why we think an idea is or intervention is going to help. And so we're going to lean into that more storytelling approach. Okay. So what is storytelling in the design thinking context? It's a human-centered way to communicate your ideas. It's authentic and character driven. So you want to place your user, your stakeholder, in the story you're telling. And it helps you set the scene through details. Stories are great because they have an arc. So there's kind of a beginning and a rising tension and a conflict and then a solution, right? It's engaging. We're, as humans, naturally drawn to stories and storytelling. And it rallies people behind your idea. So when they feel themselves, they can see themselves in the scenario, it motivates them to take action. So with your story, the audience should walk away with empathy for your user or your stakeholder. So really being able to feel, what they feel, what their experience was, insight into the problem that you framed, and your idea for meeting that need, and how that intervention helps. So with storytelling, you're going to set the scene. Imagine yourselves in a specific location. You're going to define the roles, who's creating the experience, who's receiving the experience. And you might even create props, right? If you're kind of doing this through a skit, what are the artifacts that influence the experience? And then you have pitching, which is much more a kind of on the Samsung side of describing the intervention, what the problem is that it's solving, and what the impact is that you think it's going to have. So pitching is where you get to refine and really quickly articulate your idea and communicate what you need to implement and why you think your solution will have impact. So this is much more on the strategic features side of things.